population, Medellin is the second largest Colombian city. It is very welcoming, and from ancient times it was known above all for its production and sale of coffee. Today, it is a metropolis in which the ancient problems seek redemption in a future of justice and social equity. This urban agglomeration, too quickly grown, is unfortunately also known for its violence tied to drug trafficking that has characterized its life since the last decades of the 20th century. It is a true and proper war between the state and the infamous Medellin cartel. This long war brings unemployment, poverty, and the migration of the rural population toward the city. The difficulties and the separation of many families have increased the numbers of street children. Not even the schools were prepared to receive them in such large numbers. In order to face this emergency, in 2001, the Daughters of Mary Helper Christians developed Project Patio 13 in collaboration with the Department of Pedagogy of the University of Heidelberg in order to offer an adequate scholastic formation to the children who live on the street. The educative intervention is based on the concepts that the absence of education would be an ulterior element of marginalization and the violation of the rights of these children and young people, and that instruction directed to them could not follow traditional formats. A formative project was born in which the very teachers, on the basis of the educative experiences lived with the young people, reread their own history and acquire specific pedagogical knowledge.
Project
Patio 13 is not an institution, and much less a structure where an educative proposal takes place. Patio 13 is a formative concept that seeks to accompany the teacher who is being formed for this profession, for work with a vulnerable population and with children at risk, so that they may enter into a regular school, thereby exercising their right to an education. The streets of Medellin are rich in colours, music and people. These run through the city, almost piercing her like a wound. The cable metro on high is a thread that mends the fracture of a city divided between the have and the have-nots. Between those who have a life of dignity, affection, work, a place to live, amusements, culture, and those who have nothing but life itself. In the middle of this wound are the children. When I began to work with the street children or those in disadvantaged situations, I began to value what they have. One asks oneself how to begin to work with them, but they themselves begin to value you, begin to feel that they have someone to support them and that there are people who care about them. I received instruction and I was taught how to give lessons, but no one taught me how to form this type of child, how to understand what their fears were. I didn't even know what mine were in regard to them. Fortunately, little by little, I experienced efficacious methods of approaching them, for instance, how to stay with horses. The children begin to interact with the animal with a great deal of confidence, and the confidence continues to generate itself. The animators and teachers of Project Patio 13 are prepared not only from the point of view of a scholastic competence to impart, but they receive a specific formation on how to approach the street children and those who are disadvantaged. Working with these children is not limited to transmitting ideas, but must also transmit security, acceptance of self and of adults, the desire to learn, and even the desire to live. I live like this, going from hotel to hotel. What makes you happy? What makes me happy? To be able to stay with my sister, to stay with my family. What do you want for your future? For my future, I would like to study and have a family. This will dry up. The way it is will dry it all up. What are you making? Rice. Do you have enough to eat? Today I'm preparing tomatoes with sausage, eggs and sardines, and fried potatoes. How do you get the money or food? Yes, right now I have a friend who is helping me. He pays the rent. But before, I earn the money. But now he is helping me. My father is dead. And your mother? What can I say about my mother? She's on drugs too. Do we know her? Sure. Where does she live? In which hotel? She is at our house in the Robledo Aures neighborhood, but she passes by here. Who lives with her? Right now, she's alone. Why don't you go there? There are problems, things, so as not to die there. What don't you like about your life? What I don't like is not being with my brother, my family, and the risks I run by staying on the street. One part of Project Patio 13 is the educative service offered by the students of the high school of the Salesian work, Patio Don Bosco, where children and young people are welcomed for games, study, and even to remain at school. Young people from 7 to 17 are received, and all can count on the help of expert educators and the support of the volunteer students in doing their homework, playing, and having different activities for relaxation and formation. Above all, each one receives the attention that no one outside is ready to give them. What are your dreams for when you are grown up? Enlist in the army. Why do you want to go into the army? I don't know, because I like it. Tell me something about your home. Who lives in your house? Mom, Dad, my aunt and my uncles. And who brought you here to Don Bosco? The man over there in the green jacket. And why did he bring you? Because I was out on the street a lot. Because there in Zone 13 there was a lot of shooting. There at Saint Javier, many bullets. And so they brought me here. How come you didn't shoot? Because I don't want anything to happen to me. Because my mother sees that I'm safer here. The young people are on the street due to various reasons. For the violence in the rural areas because of the longest guerrilla warfare in Latin America, for the paramilitary and the drug traffic, but also because of the violence that is experienced in the districts of Medellin. The boys and girls arrive on the streets of the city centre fleeing those who could kill them in the periphery. They organise themselves into small groups. When I frequented grade 8 here in the school, I often heard some girls speaking about going on the street to listen to some boys who were on drugs. They always went to a place where there were many of these street children. It seemed like something new to me, even if at first I was very afraid. When I told my parents that I wanted to enter into a project in which I would visit street children, this preoccupied them. But I wanted to have this experience. I spoke with Sister Sarah and I told her, "Sister Sarah, what is this Patio 13? How does it work? That there are girls who go on the streets to speak with the street children. What do they do there?" Then she told me, "If you want, you can come Friday." On the first day, I was struck by the smell of marijuana and the cigarettes of the boys and girls. The kids we met were very dirty, something unknown to me. They lived near a dumpster where there was a strong odour of urine and smoke. But after I began to speak with them, I became aware that the students and teachers went there to uncover a sense of humanity. There they could discover how persons, even though dirty, wet, even though they can't read or write, are human beings and have a lot to teach us. Then right after that first time I said, I want to involve myself in this project and I want to continue to go every 8 days to speak with these kids. And this is what I have done all these years. When a boy arrives on the street, he begins to take drugs. It's a way to survive and bear the physical pain and the inner suffering. They usually begin with glue that generates a rather slow process of deterioration. But they also take crack with it, that they prepare with the residuals of cocaine, and this is devastating. The bazuco, as it is called here, accelerates physical weakening. Among the kids, there is a diffuse feeling that those who consume it quickly die. Because of this consumption, their gums begin to become inflamed and they get cavities that destroy their teeth. Thus, they associate physical deterioration with the nearing of death because they have seen it happen to others. They believe that losing a tooth is synonymous with death, and for this reason, they take great care of their teeth. They always have a toothbrush and toothpaste in their pocket.
Por ejemplo, tuvimos una anécdota muy
For example,
reciente y fue con
we have a
Julián.
very recent
Una ocasión
anecdote
estábamos
about
trabajando con
Julian.
los niños de la calle de
Once we
manera
were
muy
working with the street
espontánea,
children very
y de manera
spontaneously,
persistente
and he
sacaba de su
repeatedly took
bolsillo
out of his
un
pocket
dientecito
one of
que
his
le habían
teeth that had
tumbado
fallen
por
out
un golpe
due to a
el día
blow
anterior.
he had suffered
Y
before.
él creía
He
que con un
believed that
solo
because of this
golpe
one
ya
blow,
la muerte
death
estaba
was
muy
coming to
cerca de
take
él.
him.
Pero no lo
He did not
asociaba de que era
understand
el
that if
bazuco
death
y
was
todo el
approaching,
deterioro.
it was because of his
Su
use of crack.
preocupación permanente era
That's why his
que el
permanent
diente él lo
preoccupation
pudiera
was to be able to
nuevamente
recuperate his
recuperar, porque
tooth,
era una manera
because it was a
de él
way
no
for
morir.
him not to die.
Porque algo que a ellos les
For them,
preocupa mucho,
besides
a
being
pesar del
preoccupied
deterioro
about their physical
físico, de la
deterioration,
precariedad
they
para
were worried
conseguir
about
el
finding
alimento,
food, a good
las
place to
condiciones
sleep.
de dormir,
They are on the
es
alert to
precisamente que la
understand if
muerte
death was
llegue, porque
arriving.
tienen mucho
They fear
miedo
death a
a la
lot,
muerte.
thus they do all they
Entonces,
can
lo
to
que ellos
preserve
más
their
buscan
teeth.
es
Having
conservar
good
sus
teeth means
dientes
that
para
death
que
will
la
not
muerte
take
no los
them.
asalte.
According to official statistics, there are about 5,000 boys and girls under 16 years of age who live on the streets of Medellin and whose rights are violated. But there are even more if we count those who remain in their homes in the poorest areas of the city and are victims of violence and abuse, or are used for drug trafficking or for the black market.
Segundo. ¿Quién era el segundo?
El verde.
El tercero.
Él.
El cuarto.
Y el
Listo.
quinto.
Entonces vamos a darle la preferencia.
Yo. El tercero. Tercero.
The High School of the Daughters of Mary Helper Christians of Copacabana was founded in 1958, just outside of Medellin, and is now a model school in Colombia. From this school come the volunteers and teachers of the primary school of Project Patio 13. The older students are invited to have a volunteer experience with the street children. Afterwards, some decide to prepare themselves professionally in order to become teachers within the project. They are special teachers because they are very attentive to their recipients.
Principalmente un maestro que conozca.
Above all, a teacher who knows the social context, the social differences, and is sensitive to the context. A teacher who respects the human dignity of the child in whatever social or economic situation. A teacher who dares to work with unstructured didactic space and lessons, and plan different methods of didactics, of pedagogy.
De la didáctica, de la pedagogía.
The sisters and those responsible for the project have let the area question them. Besides the streets of the city of Medellin, there are country areas around Copacabana. Every week, the students of the high school go to the children and young people on the outskirts of the city where they live. They gather them in the courtyard of some house, in the plazas, on the sidewalks, using the asphalt as a blackboard and their fantasy to draw their attention. Then they play, they have lessons, they help those who go to school, and they lead many to return to study in the regular schools. More than anything, the volunteer students give the children and teens that attention, affection, and respect they often do not receive, even from their families. They seek ways to transmit the values of honesty, of sharing, and of responsibility to help the children avoid wrong choices and dangerous risks. There are no lessons on Saturday at the high school, but those who wish may offer their free time for animation among the little ones who would otherwise remain at home or in the street without anything to do. They play, they share happiness. They learn new things and they grow together. The little ones learn from the big ones and the big ones learn from the little ones.